From the snowy mountains atop of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Revolution Radio. Thank you for joining us. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping at the SOR Vault, grab a great book from We Read the Night, and read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. It's updated daily. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Kewaunee Lapseritis is someone who has been able to communicate with Sasquatch. Based in Washington State, Kewaunee used to teach anthropology at North Adams State College and later taught dowsing and psychic development at the Wisconsin Society for Psychic Research, Milwaukee. As an authority on Bigfoot Sasquatch phenomena, he has meticulously researched the subject for the last 60 years. Kewaunee is also a social scientist and both a Sasquatch and ET contactee. Oh, we are in for a lot of fun tonight. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Kewaunee Lapseritis, it's been a couple of years since we had you on the show, but we're glad to have you back once again. How's your Sasquatching going?
Well, I don't go searching. They come to me and interact with me periodically, and I've now documented 468 people who also have had telepathic communication with the psychic Sasquatch. A lot of mainstream researchers that are real conservative on this, say this is unscientific. I'm a social scientist, and but this is quantum physics. It's part of reality. And they've been talking to me for 41 years, off and on, and they're not investigating the mainstream people, so they're kind of off in left field, even though there are a lot of good people there. They just, their fantasy theories eventually become real to them because they haven't had any experience. If you go out in groups like they do, with guns and cameras, no, you'll never see them, probably nothing else either. They were kind of shocked to find out, I've been doing this for 64 years, that I never brought cameras and guns with me. There's no sense in it. There's no need. These are a people. They're a peaceful people. When people are shooting at them, harassing them and so on, they get angry and step around and throw rocks occasionally and those kinds of things. They could hit a person and kill him easily, but they don't. And they have tremendous, unbelievable strength beyond anything that the average person understands. So, but I find that they are a very friendly, very spiritual people that are a interdimensional nature people, that I've seen them dematerialize in front of me 3 times. And they want to share with the people in the outer world who they really are, and they've been doing it through me and through some other people now, because they've been contacting people around, and that's the way they told me about. I think it's been 12, 13 years ago that's the way they're going to slowly come up, by contacting more and more people who are ready for them. They've contacted 3 different physicians, 1 attorney, 2 scientists, and then people from all walks of life. So they're trying to save the planet, by educating the public who they are and what they do. And I didn't know that I would be a part of all this stuff. I had started having experiences with them. I was raised in western Massachusetts in the Berkshire Mountains there, and then in southern Vermont. We had a house in both states. And I'm used to the wilderness, raised hunting, fishing, trapping, and was an accomplished taxidermist by age 16. This is back in the 50s. So all I do is fish now. I was, raised in that culture of, as I was. But as the older I got, I wasn't interested in trapping or shooting or anything like that. So they started contacting me early on and through my life, and I lived all over the world. When I was living in England, I climbed the highest mountain in Great Britain, Ben Nevis, in the Scottish Highlands, and at the top I had a Sasquatch encounter. And at the time, I just turned 22 years old at the time, and there wasn't very much literature out on Sasquatch and Yetis and all this stuff. And so the only thing I knew that they were in the Pacific Northwest, which of course isn't true. They're in every state. They're all through Canada, Alaska, Central America, South America, and there's 7 different races, he told me. He said some are small, medium, large, and extra large kind of thing. And they're all over the planet. So because I experienced it in Scotland, I said, that didn't happen. They're only in the Pacific Northwest. I just thought I had an experience. I mean, one of my degrees, I have 4 degrees, is in psychology, and I'm a trained hypnotherapist, so I know the mind very well, and I buried it because this shows you what people do.
Right.
And it was in 1990, in the cover of Fate magazine, there was an article called "The Big Gray Man of Scotland." And when I read into it, it described these geologists that were up there that were scared. They had these encounters, and they didn't understand what it was. And they went on to explain it was probably lightning, and the author, anyway, went off on a tangent. But not knowing who would know that. They're in Ireland too, and they're in England. They're in Wales. Not a lot of them, but they're there. Yeah, they're in Norway, Sweden, France, southern France, and northern Spain. There's different races of them, and they're there.
60 years of research. Go back 60 years, and I'm sure you can remember it, how you got started on this journey.
Yeah, I was 64 years ago. I was, first of all, I was very advanced, very, I was interested in everything growing up as a child. And at age 9, I saw my first spaceship. And my mother, my sister, my aunt, and my 2 cousins with me. It's broad daylight. So they said, wow, that's a flying saucer. Look, and I've heard adults talk about it. But then at age 10, I started going to all the different bookstores and stuff asking, do you have any books on outer space and spaceships? And they said, oh, yeah, we got lots of them. They're all science fiction. I said, no, I want science. And these are, I'm demanding at age 10, right? I want science. And in there was a whole article. He had one magazine. There was a whole article in there on Dr. J. Allen Hynek, the astronomer who that the government hired to investigate the UFO phenomenon, not knowing that years later we'd have meetings, and I spent hours with him discussing the Bigfoot UFO connection and everything. So I never knew that would happen. But at age 12, my dad had a magazine, Stag magazine, which is now defunct, of course, but it was all about hunting in Africa, big game hunting in Alaska, and so on. And my dad was a deer hunter and so on. And by age 16, I had 8 shotguns and rifles that belonged to me personally. So I was very familiar with all that. But there was an article in there about Harrison Hot Springs, British Columbia, and they were seeing Sasquatch there. And so they had a big article on that. This is in 1956. So they described all these different happenings and stuff, and I just said, oh, there are people. That was my first reaction, and that's what I believe they were all that time. And they are. And people are saying, no, they're an animal, they're a monster, they're all this stuff. That they're just guesswork. If you don't have experiences with them, how would they ever know? And they don't know, and it's sad because they had plenty of time to learn this stuff. But at any rate, I wrote to, like I said, I was very precocious. I wrote down postmaster, care of Harrison Hot Springs, British Columbia, at the time, knowing that a government official would have to answer me. So I sent him the article because there was no copy machines back then, and I ripped it out and sent it to him. He sent it back to me, and he wrote there, and the last thing he said was, well, these are basically just folklore, and no one is really expected to believe it. That was his last sentence, and that kind of disappointed me. I thought he was going to tell me all about it up there, the Sasquatch. But still, some believe, some don't, and that's just like today. But then I wrote to Rutgers University. They had I saw in Reader's Digest an article by a zoologist from the university. So I wrote to him. He never answered me back. I asked about the Yeti. He wrote about the Yeti and stuff. So later, as I got older, I lived in England, 2 years in East Africa, and from there I moved to Japan, worked there for a while, and then immigrated to Australia by age 24, and hopped a freighter down to Singapore, and then flew to Darwin, and then backpacked and hitchhiked 4,100 miles through the outback, and then down the coast of the Great Barrier Reef into Sydney. So I was very impetuous and adventurous, but I was investigating a lot of stuff, and I did go into the Himalayas for 2.5 weeks, investigating the Yeti. Talked to a physical anthropologist at the university there, and then I hired a student to take me up, hike way up into the part of it, just not too far, but enough that it took a while to go up to a Tibetan monastery and discuss. He interpreted for me about the Yeti to gain more information. That was in 1968. So I spent time also doing an ethnographic study in conjunction with the Colombian Institute of Anthropology in Bogota, Colombia, and lived amongst the Kewaunee Indians, a place called the Upper Rio Loreto Yaku, and then wrote a thesis on that. So I've been to Latin America 4 times and the Amazon twice. I lived on the Amazon, and they've got the same thing there. They're some kind of a Sasquatch type. In fact, there seems to be 2 different types down there, maybe 3. So it's interesting. Folklore is not really folklore, and the paranormal actually is very normal. So we just happen to live in a multi-dimensional universe, and there's portals all over the planet, and a lot of these beings come in and out of portals. Some of them can fly. Some of them are ETs. Some of them are from other interdimensional realms, and we see these strange beings and, oh my God, what's that? Well, you're visiting. I always say whenever I see these beings, and I say, oh, it's you. God bless you. Please, you're very welcome here. Please come.
Yes.
And that's hey, and they said, well, you have an open heart. You walk in unconditional love. And sometimes I get annoyed with humans, and they tell me, hey, you still keep an open heart to your human people. Love them as much as you love us. So don't get mad at them because they're doing different things, and they don't believe the same way. So they've counseled me on things and kept me on the straight and narrow. And they're a lot of fun. I mean, they're a lot of fun to be around, and yet they can be very serious when they're talking about things. 2.5 years ago, they did some healing work on my son. And the thing is that they've done a lot of healing work on me, my wife, Kelly, and my son, and a few other people. And, I mean, in terms of life-threatening diseases, cancer and stuff. But with my son, my wife had just boiled some water, and he walked into the kitchen. He was going to lay a toy down on the stove. She said, no, stay away from that. And that's very, very hot here. She said, I just had it on. And he thought she was joking, and he just bucked authority and laid his hand right on it. And he went screaming into the living room, running in circles, screaming, holding on to his wrist while the skin's hanging off the tips of his fingers. I was almost in tears, and I quickly ran and got a small Ziploc bag, filled it with ice, and finally sat him down and lay his hand on it so he could have some relief. So my wife put antibiotic cream on it, and she wrapped it in gauze, and we sent him to bed. And I told her, I said, well, we'll take him to the doctor first thing in the morning. He's always on the ground. Let's see, how old was he then? 6 or 7. And he's always on the ground playing. I said, if he gets infected, he could lose his hand, his arm, or his life. This is serious stuff. So he won't be going to school for a while. Well, keep in mind, whenever we get him up for school, we got to go in about 3 different times. You can't get him up. And that's the way he always been. But that night, we've sent him to bed, and when I went to bed, I telepathed to my Sasquatch family. They referred to us as family, and asked if they would heal him. But I meant basically just get rid of the pain, kind of thing, because that's all I could conceptualize. So I fell asleep, and the next morning, this is what I heard. I had my back to the door and to my wife, and I heard Kelly say, oh, what are you doing up? And my son said, I'm getting ready for school. She said, oh, no, you're not. We're going to go to the doc. And that's as far as she got to say doctor. And she said, wait a minute, where's the bandage on your hand? He said, I took it off. He said, there's nothing there. And he's whacking his fingertips, and I jumped up, said, no, don't do that. He said, it's okay, Papa, look. I said, no, don't do that. And I looked, and there wasn't anything there.
Weird.
Now, I told, no, they're that powerful. I don't call that weird. I call it they're very powerful, very compassionate beings. I told this to 18 different people over the internet of all the conservative researchers, and one of them got back to me and said, you're nothing but a fraud. So I can't believe that they can't understand that there's other people out there that are more evolved than we are as humans. So they're throwing away the baby with the bathwater plus the tub. They're so far in left field, and I'm not trying to put them down. I'm trying to measure and showing that they've been after them for 60 years and haven't really done anything. They haven't advanced one iota, even with the DNA. They're still arguing over that. The Patterson film, they're still arguing over that. Why I'm have been teaching people how to telepath and how to connect with them. Now, 5 years ago, my wife and I put together the Psychic Sasquatch Conference and Retreat.
Right.
And this year will be the 5th year. It's September 4th to September 7th, 2020, here in Kewaunee, Washington, which is about 60 miles north of Spokane. And we have people come from all over the world. They've come from New Zealand, a lot of them from Australia, Norway, Belgium. People in Belgium are having Sasquatch experiences. People in Norway are. People in England are. People in Scotland and Wales. These people come to the conference. There's a man, I told him where to go. He sent me the maps in France, in the Pyrenees Mountains. And he walked there and set up his tent. And the second night there, he had an encounter. So I've been working with him to get more encounters and to have it more stable and more friendship, and so they'll follow him home. So we teach at the conference mental telepathy. It's part of the conference. I do past life regressions for people and smoking cessation and whatever is necessary. I've been doing that for 44 years as well. So the conference is very different. You know, we call it the Psychic Sasquatch Retreat because there's workshops and presentations. This year we have the Crystal Skull, the original, will be here.
Wow.
And we have several, 5, 6, 7 Native American medicine people, men and women that speak and that do healing work there. I'm a holistic health consultant, a master herbalist, and wellness educator. I've been doing work with that, and I studied shamanism with a Ojibwe traditional shaman who also had a PhD in ethnobotany. Her name was Kewaunee, Woman of the Northwest Wind. So people can go to www.psychicsasquatchretreat.com for information on the 5th annual conference. We've got people, like I said, from all over the world. They come down from the Yukon even. So we're making a difference in not, if you go to these other conferences, they talk about what rifles to use, what kind of camera traps and so forth. They think technology has the answer. They don't realize when they're thinking about tricking the Sasquatch are listening in while they're there setting up the camera. So, because they're in the Sasquatch territory and the Sasquatch are going to be there. And they can stand right next to a person and be completely invisible because that's what they can do. I've had them walk right up to me and kick and crunch in the daytime, and then move leaves and sticks right up almost, 3 to 4 feet away from me. There while we're talking. So I've been so fortunate, Dave, really fortunate in this. But this is, besides my healing work, I had cancer twice, and they said it was fatal both times, but my herbs did it, and within a few weeks I was fine. So I do my own work here and educate the public.
Kewaunee, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Kewaunee Lapseritis, Psychic Sasquatch, next on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. Want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Talking Bigfoot all night tonight with Kewaunee Lapseritis. He is a researcher out of the state of Washington. And we're going to get into an interesting topic here because there are a lot of people out there who believe that Sasquatch does have some sort of psychic telepathy. That's the word I'm looking for. Telepathy. And this is something that Kewaunee has been studying for a number of years. Kewaunee, welcome back to the show.
Yes, thanks, Dave. Thank you for having me.
We have heard so many. Kewaunee, we have heard so many stories about Sasquatch giving people telepathic messages, Dogman, and as well. And here we are wondering. We can't even figure out, from a mainstream level, whether or not this creature exists. I personally know it exists. I've had encounters, but for the mainstream people out there, they're not even sure. And now we're getting into the telepathy of it all.
Yeah, I make no apologies. I'm a social scientist with 4 degrees, and yet I've followed the scientific method as far as I could take it. And I had to step outside the box in order to maintain my objectivity. And I was having these experiences, and I thought, I'll never tell anybody. No one. No one's going to believe me, and I didn't want to look like a fool. But they started, when I had the encounters, and the first time they started talking to me, there was also an ET in a spaceship talking to me. And that really threw me. I wasn't afraid, not one bit, but I was confused. And I was like, I can't believe what's going on here, kind of thing. And that was in September, first week of September 1979, 60 miles north of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in a wooded area on a farm where there was woods in the back and so forth. And so I wasn't going to tell anyone, but the owner of the property, which was an Oneida Indian, the First Nations person, said to me, said, gee, my dog is very vicious, and my best friend can't get near that dog. I saw you hugging my dog. And this is how animals respond to me, even wild animals. And I thought, what's he getting at? And, I didn't know the man. I just met him at one time, and a medicine man had come over, and they blessed the place because he had just purchased it a couple months before. And he says, and Sasquatch is attracted to you too. I thought, what? I just had an experience, but I wasn't going to tell anybody, And
exactly.
So two nights later, I still remember, 2:45 in the morning, I'm in my apartment in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and a voice said, wake up, my friend, we are here. And I was facing the wall, and I opened my eyes, and I thought, oh no, a burglar broke in. And I thought when I rolled over, there'd be a gun in my face. But when I rolled over, there were 2 Sasquatch there. And I could see through them, but I could see every detail, the wrinkles in their forehead, their eyes, the pupils going back and forth. They looked to the side and then back at me. And I thought, they have access to other dimensions. And they later told me they have access to 8 different dimensions. So they also said that they have been here on this planet for 200 million years. They were here even during the time of the dinosaurs. They said humans have been on this planet for 50 million years. And he said many civilizations have come and gone because the humans are so violent. But they want to connect with humans now, but only those with a high vibration, those that are more spiritually oriented, that are nonviolent, like myself. Why? To get information out that the planet's dying and that we need to pray and meditate more and stop doing a lot of the crazy things like fracking for oil and all these other things, because we've offset the balance of Mother Earth. And they somehow, I have no idea, they've never shared that with me, but how they keep the Mother Earth's aura in balance, and the different meridians on Earth. So they do this somehow psychokinetically. I don't understand that. Again, they never shared that with me, but they are working on the planet to heal it, but they can only do so much, because if they come out too much, people shoot at them. And nowadays, you know, hey, I'm out of work. Let's get a gang of people and surround that mountain and go up there and start shooting. You know, that kind of attitude that's so primitive. So they know that, and they're being real cautious. But they just want us to live in peace. They just don't see that it's going to happen, and they said there's going to be a great upheaval, and there's going to be lots of problems with the Earth, and it's people are going to suffer, and that's all brought on by themselves, by the governments not doing their job, corruption and stuff, and not caring for the people.
Kewaunee, I'm curious in regards to in regards to the telepathy that is used. How did you first figure this out, that they were talking to you telepathically?
Okay, when they were talking to me, I was confused. You know, they kept saying, this one Sasquatch kept saying, I'm the Sasquatch man, and I've been watching you for a long time, longer than you know or understand right now, but I am here. And I thought, what? And I'm looking around and looking around, and I didn't see anything. And I kept thinking, this is bizarre. What's this? Why is this? Where is this coming from? And he said, from me, the Sasquatch. I'm here. I'm talking to you, and I'm watching you, and have been watching you for a long time now. I'm going, what? So I got nervous, not scared, but just uncomfortable. Experiencing the telepathy, and so I walked out from the woods into the field, and there were First Nations peoples sitting around. There were 6 of them, with a medicine man discussing the property, and I kind of quietly left them to go into the woods there, because I felt an attraction, but I didn't even think of Sasquatch, not at all. But then I walked up on the hillside into the field, and all of a sudden a very sophisticated voice said, and I too, I am a space person, and I too have been watching you for many years, longer than you know or understand. So all of a sudden I'm looking all over the place, and then I put this was 65 degrees and this sunny day, and so the sun was in my eyes, and I put my hand up to look around to see what's going on, and I said to myself, I wonder where he is. And all of a sudden he said, oh, well, I'm up here in a spaceship in another dimension. And then I go, what? And he said, oh, no, as I said, I am in a spaceship here. He says, and I'm in a UFO, as you people call it. And I go, whoa, that. And so that made me really nervous. Again, I wasn't afraid. I was just confused. And he talked to me for about another half a minute, and then I got nervous, and I turned around and walked back to where this group was. And these are my friends. I was an assistant director of a urban Indian agency in town, and doing work, working for the First Nations people. Now, I kind of slowly snuck in and sat down on the ground with the others, and this is what I heard when I snuck in there. They said, well, you should build your sweat lodge over there, they said to the head of house. He said, oh, no, I won't build it there. And then the Potawatomi medicine man, Wallace Piawasit, spoke up and said, oh, that's an excellent place to build your sweat lodge. And he said, no, like I said, I will not build it there. The star people have been landing their spaceships there, and I don't want to disrupt their activity. And I stood up, and I ran all the way to the house. I should have been in the Olympics. It just startled me. Not fear, that reality hit me right between the eyes, and that was my response. And I sat there at a picnic table they had beside the house, the farmhouse, and that's when the owner came up, the head of house, and said about his dog and about the Sasquatch. And so I asked him, I said, can I come back and camp out here on a weekend? He said, sure, you can. And so I started having more experiences and a lot of interdimensional stuff. He'd walk right up to me invisibly, but I could see the grass. They were right in front of me. It was in September. It was hard. They weren't cutting hay or anything. They just bought the place and hadn't worked it in years, I guess. But if you stepped in the grass, or the field, you made a footprint. And there was a, 22 to 24 inch footprint. And I followed all the way into the swamp down below where there were cattails. And so I later was told there's quicksand there. And I never followed down in because I didn't think it was safe. But that was in 1979, and then they started coming to me. Some nights they'd come to me, and I'd roll over and said, oh, it's you again. I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. A female that would come and visit me. And I would talk to her, just in bed, laying in bed at night, and this would go on. I didn't tell anybody, and then I went to the Wisconsin Society for Psychic Research to talk to people about this, and one of the guys came with me to my apartment, visited me, and he started seeing them and around like I could, and they were coming and going and following me and giving me information. So I started recording all this, and I went to Marquette University's extension courses for adults in professional writing. And I started writing about this because I felt it was significant. And of course, now I got my two books out, The Psychic Sasquatch and The UFO Connection, and that came out in 1998, my second book, The Sasquatch People and Their Interdimensional Connection, that came out in 2011. So I started learning more professional writing. I'd written a lot. I've written for newspapers and a few things, a few articles, and for even one UFO magazine, I wrote an article. But for a book, that's really a big undertaking, and I just wanted to keep it to myself. So I told the professor, who was a national award-winning writer and also a TV writer for stories and on television, I asked him, I said, I want to keep this quiet, but I want to write about this. And he said, that's fine. He was real cool. That's no problem. So he corrected my introduction to a book, which, of course, I never used later. I wrote a totally different one. But I was, practicing in a sense. And I wrote it all out, and he looked at it, and he corrected it. And I came in early one day and in the evening, and I was reading it quietly. And a secretary from the University of the Dental School was always sitting next to me, and but there was nobody there at this time. So I'm reading through this, and all of a sudden a voice said, "Oh, you believe in Bigfoot?" And all of a sudden I get kind of annoyed that she snuck up on me, was reading over my shoulder, because I didn't want to be embarrassed by all this. She said, "My best friend talks to them. She's up in northern Wisconsin. You ought to meet her." Whoa, all of a sudden I got interested, right? And that's the first chapter in my first book called Mrs. Jones' New Friend. And it explains how they talked to her in the summertime, and she saw spaceships hovering over the trees, and she asked her friend, she'd go out or she'd be sitting on the porch, and he'd come and stand at the edge of the woods. And she said he was 10, 12 feet tall, very, very huge, and with auburn hair all over his body. And he would talk to her, and she said, what was that glowing object over the trees last night that I saw when I was sitting out on the porch. He said, that's not your business. And so she was, he was polite. He wasn't trying to be rude or anything. And he talked to her. And so the beautiful thing about it, they became friends, and every summer he would come and visit her. And one summer, she went down to walk to a neighbor because she was the last house on this dirt road. It was really a cabin, and beyond that was very deep forest. Now, her husband would drop her off, and she'd stay there for 6 to 8 weeks by herself. She'd read the Bible and just relax and read and walk around. She loved nature. And so she walked down to the next closest neighbor, which was a little ways away, and to get the newspaper, and it said that cabins have been broken into in the area. They were warning people that there's some burglars that were stealing stuff. So she went back. It was in the newspaper. They gave it to her, and a few nights went by, and she heard all this noise. And she looked around, and she, looking out the window in the shed in the back, beside the shed, she saw somebody light a cigarette. She saw 2 figures there, 2 men. And she got scared and made sure all the windows and everything were locked. And she went and she had a baseball bat that she hid. She was just a little short lady in her late 50s. And so, but she was scared, and of course she kept all the lights off. And they came up on the porch and tried to get in the door, and the door was locked. And all of a sudden, one of the guys said, "Oh my God, look at that. Let's get out of here." And they ran off the porch. One of the guys fell off the porch and rolled down, and he was limping away. She saw him through the window. Then when she looked to the other side, she saw her friend, the 12-foot Sasquatch, walking back into the woods. He simply approached the porch and scared the absolute hell out of him. And the next day, when she was sitting out on the porch, he came and he said she thanked him for scaring away the criminals. And he said, "Yes, those men were bad. You're a good person. So I thought I would scare them away for you." So does that sound like a monster to you, or some animal that wants to run around and hurt people? No.
But I think though that there are different species of that. I think they're more docile up in the Pacific Northwest here comparatively to what we're hearing in the swamps, where you're battling, gators and alligator gar and water moccasins for food. Yeah, well, again, most of these people that go in the swamps have guns with them, and they know they have guns. So they stay clear of them, because if they stepped out, they'd be shot at and wounded. They know who we are. They know us. They know humans better than the humans know ourselves, So there are some that would chase you out of the area, that are angry at humans for being wounded. Some of their mates, their females, were wounded too. So they consider us reckless and violent. And so they just try to stay away from us. And there's a few that broke off from the main Sasquatchy nation, and they are a nation. And that broke off because some of them were even angry at me. And I asked them why were some of them angry that broke off. It's because we gave you too much information, plus you were intelligent enough, you figured us out when other people did not. And therefore you started asking more questions and spending more time in the wilderness to interact with us. And now, of course, they're listening in on this phone conversation even. They do all my phone calls. They monitor us, and they refer to us as family. And they said, "You're basically ambassadors for us, Kelly and I." And I said, "I don't like that word." They said, "Why?" I said, "I won't use it. It's too ego." And they said, "But we have there's several good people that are educating the public, and they're all ambassadors in our eyes. They're there to help us, and they're helping themselves by helping us," they said. I gotta ask you about that. How the heck are they tapping into your phone calls?
They know even ETs have done it with me. I could tell you some things that they've done and freaked people out. I guess you remember Betty and Barney Hill? That
yes.
They were the first ones that had that experience. Well, Betty and I were good friends, and we used to talk on the phone all the time. And I don't know how many times she invited me up, but I never took her up on it, to stand outside in her area to watch the spaceships come in. But she had experiences with the Sasquatch as well, and many people saw a spaceship land, and then all the farmers and country people in that community started having Sasquatch experiences. So they called the state police. State police didn't know what to do, so they contacted Betty Hill. So she wrote a complete chapter for me in my first book and discussed all of this. And it's interesting because I was there at the same time.
Right.
I just happened to be. I didn't know her then. That was in 1990. It was in the 70s there, I believe. Yeah, it was. So I was still in New England. I hadn't moved to Wisconsin and then later to Oregon, and so I hadn't done that yet. So I was right there investigating that. And then she told me about it. I said, "Oh my God, I didn't know that." And but she told a more in-depth story, which is in that chapter. But there are some Sasquatch that will drive you out of the area because they're angry. They don't want any people around, and they went deeper into the wilderness. But there's also a phenomena that was brought out by another researcher about missing people. And they're blaming Sasquatch
I have a different theory on
erroneously.
That. I have a different theory on that. I do. And we can get into that when we come back here at the top of the hour. Kewaunee, I'm going to get you to hold on here for just a couple of seconds.
Mine's not a theory, incidentally.
Well, mine is
right from Sasquatch's mouth.
All right. Well, we'll find out about that coming up here in hour number 2. Kewaunee Lapseritis, Bigfoot researcher out of the state of Washington, psychic Sasquatch. What can we learn from the people of the forest? More Spaced Out Radio coming up here in hour number 2.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to give a shout out to everybody listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, along with our digital side on Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button, and if you're watching live, give us a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate that. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Idiopraxist. Idiopraxist is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping at the SOR Vault, and you can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which is updated daily. Tonight we are talking with 60-year researcher of Bigfoot, Kewaunee Lapseritis. We're talking about the psychic Sasquatch phenomena here. And right before the break, Kewaunee, you were talking about the idea that you think David Paulides' missing 411 theory is a tad off.
Well, this is what the Sasquatch said. Now, you probably, people aren't going to like this. It's too bad. It's just, this is what they said. And there's this other reality that we just don't know. There's other very, very evolved beings out there, even though they don't look like us, and they're far ahead of us, beyond anything. So just understand that. But this is what they said. Initially, the Sasquatch were there to help the humans. It's somewhere along the line, a few million years ago, that changed. There was an uprising and all kinds of different political things going on that when politically somebody else took over, they were trying to get rid of the Sasquatch because the Sasquatch were helping the humans. Anyway, it's a long story. I'm trying to shorten it. And that that was part of their job. So right now, and that's why they're coming out to talk to people who are nonviolent and who are in a position where they could help them. In other words, I work for the Sasquatch people. I work with them and for them and different projects that they want me to do. And they asked about that Kelly and I put on the Psychic Sasquatch Retreat and conference. So why? Because we've got people now from all over the world, and it's different. I mean, really different. It's not like a regular conference. People love it. We get all kinds of people. So we're educating the people, and they're trying to help us because the planet's dying. Now, in the meantime, there are here many different races of ETs. I've seen 7 different races, and Kelly, I believe, has seen 9 different races. So that have come and talked to us, or and so on. Now, there are the good, bad, and indifferent everywhere in the universe. The good, bad, and indifferent. So the indifferent ones monitor. They don't get involved because of their own beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
When people evolve more, even though some of them may be from the dark side, they know about karma, and that's extremely important as a real universal phenomena. So the good guys just go in like we do here, you just wipe out the bad guys. No, it doesn't work that way with them. They have a different kind of approach, because if they did, then that would be their karma. So there's really a very touchy thing that goes on, and why that there's still those from the dark side that are on this planet. Because they told me there are bases under the ocean, in the Great Lakes, and the deep water lakes of the world, plus inside of extinct volcanoes, dormant volcanoes. I found 2 volcanoes that had a ET city inside, and I could hear them walking around. The ETs approached my tent. The Sasquatch approached my tent on this particular mountain in Oregon. So another place in Arizona where they go in. They say, well, where's the entrance? No, it's hollow inside. They have the ability, even though they're physical, a spaceship can come in and be able to go through solid matter. So can Sasquatch walk through solid matter. Now, they're also time travelers. I won't get into that right now. But as far as
we do have
David
to touch on
Politis'
that.
work, David Politis' work, I think he's done a good job in getting his facts together, but he's been very reserved, which is fine, which I respect that. But the people around him, and someone that was selling books for him when I called, said that the Sasquatch are killing people. So that's not true. And here's what happened. Some of the bad guys, knowing that the Sasquatch they told me 12, 13 years ago that they're going to come out more, because all this time they've been contacting certain people, but not many of them, to try to help them and to educate them. And some of them they took through portals into their dimension that they visit often. So I was taken twice, but anyway, that's another thing. So then these ETs from the dark side have captured Sasquatch. They told me when these bad ETs come in the ships that they run and hide, because they will take them and they'll never come back again. In fact, one of them was in Texas when I was interacting with them down there in northeast Texas. I was talking to one of the races. Now, they were not Sasquatch. They were the ancient ones with a human face. Totally different. That's why some people say, my God, I was going to shoot it, but it had a human face. Well, it wasn't a Sasquatch. It was an ancient one, and with a human face. And they don't have a sagittal crest or a peaked head like the Sasquatch. They have a round head. Their arms do not go down to their knees like with a Sasquatch. But, they're in proportion to their body like us. That's interesting, like us. Well, they took their DNA to bioengineer us. That's the Sasquatch, the word they use, to bioengineer humans. They took it from the ancient ones. Now, I've seen the ancient ones, and I saw a woman, a young woman, hair all over her body, but a beautiful face. Beautiful. She could have won Miss America easily. She wanted to make love to me. And I just had a broken engagement. This was back in 1989 in Oregon. And I was deeply depressed and not interested in anything like that. I always joke sometimes and say, well, I should have gone ahead and did it just for science. Anyway, that's my joke.
I know.
But anyway, I didn't. But she kept begging me to come up. She said, I'm lonely. I've been watching you, and I want to make love to you. She said, please come up, you know. And anyway, she was only about 5'8" or 9. I'm 5'10", so I saw her footprints in the snow with her son. And I asked about that, and she said that her parents were angry with her for having copulated with someone before her time, and she has a son that's 4.5 feet tall now. So that was at that time, and I saw both of their footprints in the snow when I was checking my area out where I interact with the ancient ones at this particular mountain. And seeing her really startled me. Again, she was so beautiful. When I was selling my first book came out, I was at the International International Sasquatch Symposium at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, and that was in 1998. So I came down to advertise my book and stuff, and I was meeting people that were telling me that they were approached by a beautiful woman with hair all over her body, and they were smelling perfume all over, and there were no flowers out or anything, but they produced that, and she said she wanted to make love in order to have the gene pool strengthened. So they understand all of that. They're very, very intelligent. But what happened was, as far as Belitis, is that the ETs from the dark side were capturing Sasquatches, putting electrodes in their brain and controlling them. And plus, they were to do heavy work for them, mining work and stuff on this planet. Plus, they would take some of the DNA from the Sasquatch and from other beings from other planets to make a being that, in a sense, overall body was Sasquatch-like, but could kill a Sasquatch, had all the powers of a Sasquatch that they with their DNA could put in there. They can put anything they want in to create anything they want. And they did this back in the Greek times of the Greek, when they had the centaurs and the cyclops and all these other things. They were all real, all of that stuff. It's just that they were, even in Egypt, when they have the wolf-headed people and so on. This was all real. People think it's just folklore, but it's not. So they can produce that, and they produced a being that they released into the national parks, and they were testing it years ago. And when you go back in time, but also in the beginning, some of that was an angry Sasquatch that it took a female for a partner. It didn't kill her or anything, but took her as a partner. And they treat people so nice that a lot of them didn't want to go back into civilization. A few of the Indian women that were taken had children by them. The children, some of them died, some of them did not. And they're still today, even on some of the reservations. I won't say where, but I know that there are hybrids there. So the Native American people, the First Nations people, don't want to talk about it because they've been made fun of by the white race, by the Europeans, and so they keep it to themselves. Why should they share anymore? They've been, done a bad deal, and I do empathize and sympathize with them.
I do have to ask you. We could have learned
so much from them. We could have learned so much from the First Nation people.
Oh, I agree with you on that, but I do have to ask, just out of mild curiosity here, weren't you afraid that you would get hurt making sweet love in the forest by a fire, maybe a little Barry White on the Walkman to a Sasquatch lady? I mean, I'm just thinking of the possibilities here, man, and I just can't see how that would be good for you physically.
there was. Let me tell you, I started out my second book, The Sasquatch People and Their Interdimensional Connection, by describing a situation that happened that was told to me by a MUFON member who investigated and wrote all this down. And so I myself am put it in my book because it's valid. That this man was 60 years old. He was he was divorced, and he moved to a cabin by a lake about 40, 50 miles from Seattle. And he noticed spaceships at night, and then he noticed one morning when he got up early that there was a round spaceship hovering above the lake with some kind of a funnel or tube going in. And when he went out later that day, he noticed that the lake was down about a foot. This was a small lake now, not a big one. So he knew there was something going on in the area. Then he started seeing what he thought were Sasquatch, but they were the ancient ones. At a distance, they look like Sasquatch until you see their faces. And he was seeing them at a distance. So one night, somebody knocked at the door, and he wasn't expecting anyone. When he opened the door, there was a woman standing there that was an ancient one with a beautiful face, and of course, they're all nude. It's just hair all over their body. And she came in and told him that she wanted to make love to him. Now, in Eastern Europe, in a lot of those countries, there's folklore about these women that are out there to woodcutters making love to them and stuff. And of course, that's true. It really happened, but it just seems so fantasy-like that people, a lot of them didn't believe it, thought it was just folklore. Well, anyway, they made love, and she got up and looked at him, smiled, and turned around and did not go to the door and open the door, but she walked right through the wall, which kind of freaked the guy out. She just walked her straight right through the wall. Now, almost 2 months went by, and there was a knock on the door again. And when he opened the door, she was standing there, and this was all telepathic to him. She pointed to her stomach, and she says, "It took," and smiled and said goodbye to him, and she never saw him again.
So they're just treating you with a cheap one night stand or something like that.
Yeah, but this has to do, of course, with them strengthening their gene pool and with DNA and all this stuff. This is really a key thing with a lot of races of ETs. They're doing a lot of genetic experimentations. And our government probably is on some level, or maybe Russia, and producing some kind of weird stuff. Who knows? Maybe it's all science fiction. But we're getting into where that's possible. So, but this is what they do, and apparently, and they've been doing it for years, for centuries, and not, people just don't know. And again, who's going to believe you? I hesitated for the longest time telling people, and it's just I didn't want to, be made fun of. Now I don't care. Why? Well, the truth is the truth, and if a person has a hard time with it, then they should educate themselves more and realize that there's more to life than Star Wars and McDonald's hamburgers.
Kewaunee, we have about 3 minutes here before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Our guest tonight, Kewaunee Lapseritis. We're talking psychic Sasquatch. And by the way, we got to give a shout out to Greco in our chat room tonight. Happy birthday, Greco. Really appreciate you tuning in on your birthday when you could be doing something a lot more fun. But I do have to ask you in regards to everything that you've seen, and are they having problems breeding with their own species? Is that why they're trying to, hire the milkman, so to speak?
No, it's to strengthen their gene pool. They're human too. They have the same amount of genes than we do. 46 chromosomes, the same as we do, because they took their DNA to make us. So we're the same. They're our big brother in a sense. So a lot of this stuff is in the books. If people go to www.psychicsasquatch.com and also sasquatchpeople.com, and if they're interested in the conference, it's the psychicsasquatchretreat.com. There'd be a lot of information there for people as well that can appreciate what I'm saying.
I get that. Okay. So with that, and the fact that they're strengthening their species, because in one way they are our brothers and sisters, how do we prove that scientifically? And remember, we only have about 90 seconds here.
Well, there's been work done on DNA. It's just they refute it. They say, oh, no, it can't be this, it can't be that, because there's a mixture of things in there. There's mostly human DNA, but there's a mixture of a bear and of other beings and other things in order that they can live in raw nature. They can live. I asked them. I said, "How come you can be cold and you don't wear any clothes? If it's hot, you're in the desert. You follow me around down in Arizona." I said, "How come?" They said, "We can control our temperature." And they were laughing at the same time. Yeah, we can control our temperature. That's why, our body temperature. If we're cold, we do that. And I know two people that were freezing cold and could have gotten hypothermia, and they telepathed to them, and they made them warm as toast in the middle of a very cold day. One of them was at night. In fact, the guy at night turned around and telepathed back and said, "I'm starting to sweat. Can you please, I want to be it's a little too hot now." When he was freezing, he brought his summer sleeping bag rather than a winter bag, and anyway, it got super cold at night, and he was in a Sasquatch area, and I told him, "You ever get in trouble, you telepath to them." And he did, and they helped him immediately by warming him up for the rest of the night. How do they do that? Well, because they're evolved. They've been evolving for 200 million years ahead of us. So we got to understand we're not the only ones here.
Kewaunee, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We're going to go to break here. More of Psychic Sasquatch on Spaced Out Radio with Kewaunee Lapseritis right after this.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind all of you that if you want to, check out our free archives, because they are free for you, just go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. And don't forget, you can also get your horns up for Ron Bumblefoot Thal as well. Tonight we are talking psychic Sasquatch with Kewaunee Lapseritis. He is a researcher out of the state of Washington. And we're into a real interesting conversation tonight. Kewaunee, I want to go down the path of the connection between extraterrestrials and Sasquatch. What is the connection between the two?
What they've told me, and they've told a few other people as well, that they were bioengineered 200 million years ago by friendly ETs in Lemuria. And as a matter of fact, the giant lemur that no longer exists, went into extinction about 300 years ago by the natives, killed them. Some of that DNA was taken to put together a Sasquatch. And so Lemuria, like the lemurs of Madagascar and these areas, existed at that time, and that's where they were created. And they said that the humans were later bioengineered 50 million years ago. So one of the interesting things, if you read the Bhagavad Gita and that whole all of those books, there's talks about Hanuman, the giant monkey man. And there were a lot of them, and they talk about it, and it's like they had all this power and abilities, and all this supposedly took place. It says in the Bhagavad Gita, 200 million years ago. The exact thing that the Sasquatch told me. When I read that, no one else has ever brought it to my attention. I saw that, and I just said, "Whoa." That's what they're saying, and it matches up to. I think that's all about 6,000 years old, but it was passed down from by word of mouth. They memorized. Some of these sages memorized whole sections of the books, and eventually it became a book. It was passed on. Why? Because they said it was that important. Even today, they see monkey men there, mostly in northern India. I was in India in 1968 for about a month. Then I went into the Himalayas for 2.5 weeks to investigate the Yeti and to talk with people and to go up into the Tibetan monasteries and try to get more information at that time because there was so little information.
So, are the aliens stealing Sasquatch? Because I've heard that.
No, listen to this. There's many different races already here. So when people talk about the ETs, they're always talking about one race. Well, I don't, because I already know. I've seen them, and there's many different races that are already here that show themselves periodically to people. They all look a little different. So what? But they're all in some kind of an alliance. There's even some reptilians that are not for their own people. They said they're too aggressive, and they don't like them, so they come over to the Alliance side to work as healers and scientists and so on. I mean, it sounds like Star Trek, but in a way it is kind of Star Trekky in how this thing seems to be set up. I mean, my life's like a science fiction movie, except it's all for real. And I always joke and say, well, the nuns in parochial school never told me all this was going to happen. You know, of course, your life changes, and it's never the same. You view things very differently. I was spoiled growing up. My folks bought me everything because they came from Europe. They were poor, and all of a sudden they were doing well, and so we got everything. And so as I got older, I didn't want everything. I was on a spiritual path trying to figure out what's going on in the world and where do I fit in. I remember I hopped a hydrofoil from Manly, where I was living in Australia, to go across Sydney Harbour to Sydney, to the city. And I met a woman who was from England. She was 27 years old. I was 25 at the time, and we started talking, and I said, yeah, I was here, and I lived there, and I was here, then I lived there. Finally, she looked at me and said, what are you running from? Kind of like that. And I was surprised that she said it so firmly. And, of course, I thought for a minute, and I looked at her, I said, I'm not running. I said, I'm searching. Searching for what? I said, searching for myself, to see where I fit in here in the world before I make some decisions on what I want to really do. And then she, in a pleasant way, said, oh, I see, But that path has attracted the Sasquatch people and the ETs. And so they do mining work for the ETs, for the friendly ETs. And I'm sure they're doing mining work for the bad ETs or the dark ones because of the electrodes in their brain in order to control them. I mean this, however it sounds, this is true. Now, a woman from the Los Angeles area one day sent me a long 3-page, single-typed, 2.5 pages of her experience. There wasn't very much, but she wanted to talk to someone about it and found nobody. People started laughing at her. So she went on Amazon and found my first book, and she contacted me, and then she started calling me, and she wanted to have more experiences, and so she did, because she came to my place, a cabin in the foothills of the Cascades at the time, and started having experience. They started talking to her right there. They had talked to her twice before, briefly. Once in the Redwoods forest, and the other was in Colorado. And so she knew there was really something important going on, and she said, my book was the one that talked about all this stuff. The others were, talk about hair and tracks, and really didn't talk about very much. It was just kind of boring, the other stuff. But I told her if she sent me the maps that I would put her in an area where there was Sasquatch. And she said, how can you do that? I said, I can do it anywhere in the world. I've sent people to places in Siberia, specifically where to go and what place. And I said, there's a female almost there. If you go there, and she's hanging out by the portal leads to this other dimension. So this woman went there from Seattle, 11,000 miles away. She sent me the maps, and I marked it. And she went there. She said it's 15 miles out of her way from where she generally would go into the deep wilderness. And she camped at that place by the lake. And the first night there, she had a fire going, and a female, almost a Sasquatch type, ran right through her, trotted right through the edge of her campsite so she could see her plain as day. And when she got back 6 weeks later, she told me, she said, "Hey, you were absolutely right." So I did this to this woman to help her out because she had 2 experiences, and I told her where to go. She sent me maps. She was surprised. All the forested area, there were none in that area. But in the high desert, there were 2. So I said, but don't get near that area because there's spaceships there, and they're doing mining work. I said, I don't know what they're mining, but I can find any of this stuff on a map. I know how many are there, what's there, and the whole thing. And I know where portals are. They're really easy to find, for me anyway, because they let me know. They one of my abilities. So I told her simply, this was in January, so I should, Southern California, it was cold still, and I should camp out right at the trailhead. You won't have to go anywhere. They'll come to you. She said, really? I said, yeah. I said, there'll be spaceships, but just ignore them. You know, they're fine. They're friendly, too. This particular race of them. So she told me later on she thought I was full of baloney about the spaceships, that I was only trying to jerk her chain a little bit and play around with her. But I told her where they were and so on. So when she got there, by the time it got night, she brought wood with her, and she had a fire going, and she slept inside of her station wagon in the back with a sleeping bag. But that first night there, she could look down into the valley, and she saw where I had marked where they're at, and she saw a glow of something glowing. Well, later that night, while she's sitting around the campfire, a Sasquatch came to the edge of the campfire and trotted. You could hear it boom, 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 hitting the ground, and that was his calling card. I'm approaching you. And so it stood there, and she didn't try to communicate with it. I don't know why, but she was startled that when I told her they're there. So she spent 2 nights there, and the next night she saw a spaceship come out of the valley, and it was low, very low over her where she was camped. And so it was like a little chain, a long kind of small mountain or a big hill there to her right as it was heading to go over there, where it was going most likely to one of their stations somewhere underground or in the ocean or somewhere. And she telepathed to it and said, wait a minute, don't go, come back and visit me. She said in her mind. It stopped in midair and then started coming towards her. She was scared out of her wits. She didn't realize they were listening like that. And she said, no, never mind. It's okay. You can go on now. And so it stopped, and then it continued on its way. And so this is, I told her it was okay to do this if the spaceships came by. But in the beginning, before this happened, and before I met her, when she first called me, we were talking on the phone about Sasquatch, and all of a sudden I said to her, I said, excuse me, I said, but you've got arthritis and you've got pain in your hip. And she screamed over the phone, ah! She said, how did you know that? I said, well, I'm a medical intuitive. This is what I do for a living. I do healing work. And I said, I do it as a professional herbalist. And she said, oh. And then all of a sudden I said, wait a minute, there's 2 Sasquatch standing by my desk here. I could see through them. And they just told me, if you get permission, they will go and heal you of your arthritis. And she goes, oh, really? Okay, yeah, I get permission. Okay. And she didn't seem to take it too seriously, but said that. And so then she started asking me questions. We started talking again. Well, about a half a minute went by, and all of a sudden she says, oh, my God, what's going on? Oh, my God. And I said, well, what is going on? She said, I don't know. She says, there's somebody here. I mean, I could feel my body vibrating. And I mean, what's going on? And I said, I said, they're giving you a healing, I guess. And that's what you asked for. I said, just relax. Let them give you the healing. So, okay. And she said, but somehow I thought they'd probably come next week sometime. And so she was surprised. And when we got through, I said, how do you feel? She says, the pain's gone. And incidentally, I got to know her over a period of years. She doesn't have arthritis. It went away and never come back. She knew she had it because the doctor told her, but she didn't want to take the dangerous drugs. So she just didn't take anything. And it was 3 weeks before that she talked to the doctor. So the pain came and went. And I'm glad I spoke up. And anyway, she's completely healed and never come back. So
I want to get into...
These are the monsters that people want to kill. These are the monsters that some of the mainstream researchers want to kill just because of they have a big ego and they want fame and fortune.
Kewaunee, we got about 6-7 minutes here before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. I wanted to get into the time travel aspect of everything.
Yeah. On my birthday in October, when I spent 10 days with a family. They contacted me, read my book, and the Sasquatch were coming in, and the ancient ones, both. So they had 42 acres or something, I think it was, and a patch of woods, and I camped out in the woods, and they started coming to me right away. And so I said to them, just before I left, I said, tomorrow somebody's going to drive me 5 hours back to Dallas to the airport. I said, but it's my birthday today. I said, tonight, will you ask Andan, your father, to if they would take me so I could spend time with you? And she says, I asked Andan. And this was Halodi, was her name. She was a shamaness with a human face. They all have human faces. So she came back later and said, yes, we will take you. And then, while it was still light out, 2 truckloads of people, and they had rifles, showed up across the way. So I quickly telepathed to her and her family and said, there's people here, and I don't like their energy. I could see them through the woods across the street. They all have guns. I said, your people are in danger. And so they fled across the border into Oklahoma immediately. They took the young kids and their whole clan. It was a clan. But Halodi and her brother stayed there because they could stay invisible and go anywhere they want, and they can keep an eye on these guys. And I found out later they were there to hunt Sasquatch. So anyway, they said, we can't take you now. And I said, I wanted to go real bad. And so I said goodnight, and I slept. I was in a tent. So I got up in the morning, gathered my stuff because they were going to come and pick me up, and so I could go into the farmhouse and walk the 100 yards into the farmhouse. So I would have breakfast and pack the rest of my things. Well, when I went into this private room where all my suitcases were, I had 2 big suitcases, there was a note there from Halodi that she could print, and a note paper and flare pen was left out there. And she said, I was taking 12 years ahead in time that the ETs took me to teach me more healing work. They said, you don't remember it, but all the information they taught you are there. And when the timing is right, it'll germinate and you'll have this knowledge. Use it to help others, not for gain, she said. And she said, when you get on the metal bird to go home, to fly home, that's how the word she used, she said, one of the ETs is going to be there with you. You might recognize him and then you'll start remembering a lot of things. But he's going to be partway home with you on the plane. So I said, wow, that's something. Then she wrote Love, Haloti. And so I just was surprised that she left me some gifts of a crystal and a feather. And so I've been leaving gifts for her and stuff, not to lure her in. We were already friends. These were just gifts. I always brought gifts and stuff whenever I came. And I was there 3 years in a row. Now Haloti's up here. She moved up here. And
how did she move up there?
Some of them, this may sound crazy, but would hop a freighter. They would hop a freighter. In the back of the freighter, there's nobody there, and they can go in and just not worry about anything. And if anyone came to look for them, they just quickly dematerialize. Often in the past, the ETs would move people around, move some of their people around. But if they can do it on their own, they'll do it on their own. And some of it is they can go through into one portal and come out several hundred miles away or 500 miles away, be in another, come out a portal and be 500 miles away. So they can do different things like that. But they took me ahead, and they said it was the beginning of 1,000 years of peace. But it never happened. And when I questioned them, and they said, there's many different timelines. We took you down the timeline you were on then, but it changed. So much has changed that you're now on a different timeline. Now, this is quantum physics. So I have to strain, my brain a little bit to when they talk about stuff like this, because they've touched me. I think it was 8 or 9 times already, and there's so many different things that they did, but they are time travelers. They can go back and forth just like the ETs that took me. So I don't understand a lot of this stuff. I know that Billy Meyer in Switzerland was taken back by ETs to the time of the dinosaur, and he took pictures through the ship of the dinosaurs that were approaching the ship, and then they took off. I mean, it sounds very sci-fi, but he's got the pictures. People have seen them, and I know a person in America that represents him. We were friends, and I met him at one of the conferences when I was speaking in Hawaii. So this is real, and this is what they're doing. It's just that we're so unevolved that we marvel at it, and then most people say it's too crazy, it doesn't exist. When not only does that exist, but it's even crazier on the quantum level, on the quantum continuum. So they can float stuff, all kinds of things they've done. They've got all this ability, and they don't even think anything of it. So why? Well, that's their life. They're that evolved, and we're that unevolved. And yet we're mislabeling them monsters and animals that we must taxonomize in order to put it in a zoological place when it really has nothing to do with it.
Kewaunee, I'm going to cut you off right there because we're going to go to break here. 2 hours down. Third hour of Spaced Out Radio to go. Kewaunee Lapseritis. We have him for another 30 minutes on the mighty SOR. Stay tuned.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at Kajans.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today. We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines Report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to give a shout out to everybody listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, along with the digital side on Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Idiopraxist. Idiopraxist is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We got a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and there is much, much more, so check it on out. For the final time tonight, we introduce Kewaunee Lapseritis. We are talking about psychic Sasquatch, and we're going to get back into the whole time traveler thing. Is Sasquatch a time traveler as well? Kewaunee, convince us.
Yes, they do have that ability, they said, to do that. Now, it isn't like every one of them. There's the young ones are being taught to stay away from us, and they're taught like almost like a private school. They are schooled by different adults there, like in a cave or underground, and so they're schooled that way so they can survive in the outer world there. When I moved in here, I think, let's see, that's 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago or something, they were pounding on the side of the building. There was somebody walking on the roof above us in the bedroom at night. Someone was walking down the hall, but there was nobody there. All these different things. And even during the daytime, there would be a slam on the side of the building and stuff. And then when I was unpacking, and my wife was unpacking, she said, "Did you just poke me?" And I said, No, why? "Oh, maybe I'm just dreaming." And she turned around and poked again, And she says, "They're here poking us," So she went into the living room, and I turned around, was unpacking something, and they poked me. So they're twins. They're now 19, almost 20, but they were 18 years old at the time, and they said they've been expecting us. They've been preparing for us to come here. Well, we just grabbed the place at the last minute here because there's not a lot of rentals, and I was looking for a place to purchase, but we didn't find the right place, so we rented this. But we're in a pine grove and a fir grove here, and at the bottom of a mountain, on the side of the mountain actually, and it's they come down, and these teenagers are allowed to, because generally they're not allowed to get near humans, but they know us and they know we're not violent, that we're for them. We work for them. We're part of their family, extended family. So they said, yeah, it's us. We've been joking around and doing that because we know we can with you. And I said, yeah. So then I wrenched my back from an old injury, but hauling heavy boxes here, and I took my herbs and stuff, which helped during the day, but they wore off at night, and I'd wake up during the night and couldn't sleep for 2 nights in a row. The pain was so bad. So I telepathed, pardon me, to the elder who introduced himself and welcomed us here when 5 days after we were here. And I asked if he could come and heal me because I was in such pain. I woke up the next morning and I was still in pain. Nothing happened. So I took stuff during the day. I made it through the day okay, all right. But that night I asked again, I telepathed, but all of a sudden I fell asleep. They put me to sleep. They can put you to sleep. They can put your dog to sleep so they won't wake up. And I woke up the next morning as if I never had anything wrong with me. Just no pain, no nothing, walking normal, not limping, not grabbing the back, not hurting. So they've done a lot for us. And when my second book, I had a editor edit my book for me, and she said, could I come to your cabin? At the time, I had a cabin in the foothills, 50 miles from Seattle in the foothills, the Cascades. And I said, yeah. She said, I want to set up a tent, and if I could, try to interact with them. I said, sure. I said, it's up to them, between you and them. I can't tell them anything. You don't tell them what to do. A lot of people say, tell them to do this, tell them this. No, it isn't how it works. You'll be talking to the wall if you start doing that. But anyway, so she set up her camp there in her tent, and I let her use of my bathroom and the facilities. And here she spent 3 days there and two nights trying to connect with them, because they're there 24/7. There was a portal they built that was 125 feet from my front door into the woods that they built. The ETs built it, and they were the dog-faced people, the wolfmen, the ancient ones, and the Sasquatch. All three of them, 3 races were there where I was living. Anyway, nothing happened, but I said every night I go for a hike. I do speed walking. This was in the spring where it was nice and warm. And I said, so if you want to come along, we can talk, but I speed walk and get my exercise, and I go 2.5 miles. So anyway, we took off, and we were walking, and she'd asked me something, and when I was a professor teaching anthropology, I would always go into storytelling to explain what I meant by this particular principle. And so I seem to do that automatically when I'm lecturing. And so we're walking along, and she asked me something, and I said, well, wait a minute, and I said something. She said, what do you mean? And I said, well, look. And I started telling her a story that as an example of what I was talking about. And while we were doing that, we're walking along on this dirt road, and all of a sudden 2 ancient ones came up behind us. They were about 6 feet away, but they were invisible. But I know they're there. I know their energy. I know them. And so I stopped, and she says, what's the matter? I said, well, you wanted to know, to experience them. I said, do you feel them now? I said, my whole body's vibrating. I said, they're right here. She said, where? I said, they're just 6 feet behind us. They're in another dimension. And so I'm trying to explain to her, but I had to stop the story, to explain that they were there. Maybe she could feel them and all that. And all of a sudden, one of the ancient ones said, never mind us. Finish the story. They were monitoring me, but they were listening in and enjoying the story, you know. And all of a sudden I started talking about them, and they never mind us. Hey, come on, finish that story. So they'd come up with stuff like that, you know, and joke. Now, another time, I went to do some grocery shopping, and so I told I had to pay the bill, and I always did it the electric bill at the town hall with cash. So I was out of cash, and I said, well, I'll just stop and use the ATM. Well, I only used the ATM a couple of times before, literally 2 times before, so I'm not familiar with it. I don't use it. I just never use it. I'm not familiar with it. So I went to the bank, put it in, and it said there's no money. I said, geez, there's a few $100s in there. I already know that. So I started to leave, and then I said, wait a minute, I pushed the wrong button. So I went back, stuck it back in, and went through the whole process and pushed a different button. Come up and said, no money. So I walked all the way back to the car, and I said, wait a minute, there was still that other button that I never used. I don't know, maybe that's it. So I went all the way back in. I was frustrated, put my debit card in, went through the motions, and it said, no money. So I said, that's it. I've had it. So I went, got in the car, and I drove back to the house, which was pretty close at the time. Now I live 15 miles away into the wilderness. So I went there and told my wife what was going on, and she says, well, let me check the card out. She said, give me the card. I said, oh, my God. I left the card in the machine. And she said, well, you just came from there. I said, yeah. She said, let me call the bank. They know who we are, and they can grab it for you. So when she called, they said, sorry, it's after 1 minute, it sucks it in and destroys it. I said, what? I said, well, it'll take a month before I get another one. I said, oh, no. You know, really, oh, God, I really goofed. So by then, my wife said, look, I'll go with you. I'm all through doing this work here, so let's the two of us go to the grocery store. So we did, shopped, and as we're going through the register, she pulled out her debit card. But it wasn't her debit card. It was my debit card. Her debit card was there too, but mine was in her wallet. And what do we hear telepathically? Her guy, George, laughing like crazy. He saved us. He saved that for me.
Well, that's awfully nice.
He was laughing it. And, yeah, I know. They've helped us so many times. I mean, just doing stuff like that. He imported it out of there into her wallet. Another time, my knife disappeared. We were in the storage, cutting boxes and going through stuff that we didn't open when we moved. And so we some movies, I got some shirts, I got this and that. So I said to Kelly, hand me my knife. She said, no, you have it. I said, no, I don't. It's not up here on the lip by this box. So you must have it. She said, no, you do. I said, really? I looked everywhere, couldn't find it. I said, oh, no, it must have slid into one of these boxes. And I use that knife every day. I've had it for 35 years. It's an expensive knife. I said, maybe in a couple of years when I'm going through the boxes again, I might find it. Oh, no. Oh, gee. So we left, and we got to the house, and I brought in, she had a box of stuff, I had a box of stuff, and she said, boy, we got some good movies for tonight, and gee, we got this, and we didn't know it was there, and she walked into the kitchen, I said, yeah, everything but my knife, and she said, oh, and that's right, and she opened the drawer where the knife usually is, and there it is, sitting in there, and
Goodness.
George is laughing again like crazy. He imported it a quarter of a mile back into the drawer.
That's incredible. Incredible.
So
why do you
this
think
is the power?
I want to ask you this. Why do you think all of this happens to you?
But it's happening to other people too now. To me first, in order to prove who they were by example. And because I kept going and kept doing everything that I could for them. I've been on to 113 conferences I spoke at and gatherings, including the International UFO Congress, that they come from all over the world, speakers do, and I spoke twice there. I've been on radio talk shows. I think I've kind of lost track, but somewhere around 518 or 20, something like that, over the years. So I'm putting out all this energy to educate the public, and my books, which people can get at the SasquatchPeople.com and PsychicSasquatch.com. But they're helping me back. It's an exchange. And we work for them. Here's what I asked. I'm going to tell you something. I asked them, I said, well, how long have you been watching me? Because I thought back when I was 13 and had my first experience, and my friend had it with me. And I just reminded him the other day, and he's my age in his upper 70s, and he said, remember when we were out there sledding at night? And yeah, when they came. So I asked them, I said, how long have you been watching me? He said, we were there at the moment of your birth. I said, why? Why would you be? And he wouldn't tell me. And then I said later, is it because my soul is one of your souls, one of your people? And he didn't say yes or no. This is what he said. He said, you have more insight than the average person. He said, you have an open heart. And he said, he didn't say I'm surprised, but it's something to that effect, that I figured it out. And then later he said, yes, later when I met Kelly and everything, and he said, yeah, she also, and your son has, a soul of us. And that's why you have the interest. That's why you don't have any fear. That's why you're willing to do this. You are there, like a few others, to push people ahead and to advance your society into more of a spiritual community of people, and not people who are under capitalism, that are always fighting to get ahead, fighting for this, fighting for that, and starting wars. Says that isn't what we want. That's why this planet is going to have World War III. I asked them, and he said, it's already started. They just haven't dropped the bombs yet. And this was a few years ago. I think 8 years ago or 9 years ago.
In regards to Sasquatch, we only got about 5.5 minutes left with you tonight. Can anybody see them? How do we go about seeing them and making contact in the forest?
People should meditate. That's what they ask for. And to fast, for 4 or 5 days, and camp out and fast, and then get up in the morning at 4 o'clock and start a fire, and then lay tobacco to the 4 directions, like the Native American people do, and to telepath to them and to ask. You can't summon them to say, come on now, they're not going to come. If you follow a spiritual protocol by laying tobacco and fasting, and ask them, how can I best serve this planet now? Please guide me to where I'm supposed to be, that I may better fulfill my purpose on this plane before I cross over. So this is important. This is what it's about. It's not about collecting a motorcycle, a sports car, a boat, a nice house, and all these kinds of things. I mean, that's so secondary. In fact, it's almost nothing compared to what we're supposed to be here for. Most people miss their mission, miss why they're here. So I haven't. I'm one of these people that haven't, and that didn't seek tons of money and stuff, though I've had money come and go. I just use it to help people or to travel or to learn, because that's what's important to me. That's why we're here. I want to read something real quick that's in my second book.
Sure.
It's kind of slowly unwind here towards the end. A Zen monk once said, and I quote, "All life in nature has a spiritual dimension and is sacred. When we honor other creatures as we do ourselves, we all evolve another step." End quote. So that's really what it's about. That little, 2-sentence thing. That's what it's about. And just to respect other people. That's what being spiritual is. Respect for all living things. I don't really belong to any religion, but I know the power of prayer. I've studied, learned, and I pray for world peace, the preservation of Mother Earth, and the healing of the planet every day. If I'm hiking or driving a car, because to me that's important, because that's what the Sasquatch want. They want to work with us. They want humans to interact with them, but you must follow that protocol. I can make, if people want to contact me at sasquatchpeople@hotmail.com. sasquatchpeople@hotmail.com. It's a hot subject. And that I help people connect with them. I do this all the time. I do this all the time, probably 12 to 15 people a year, and sometimes more than that, to direct them, because I know where they're at, how many are there, and so on, and how to, if the person isn't ready and they're trying to connect, it takes longer, several months if they continue. Some people, they get it right away or after a few weeks. But if people want help, they can go to sasquatchpeople@hotmail.com and contact me and discuss their situation and so on, and I'm there to help.
We got
also,
about 90.
I do a lot of healing. I do a lot of healing work that the Sasquatch want me to do, and I have clients in India, Norway, England, Australia, Canada, all over. So I can do this over the internet, and it's it keeps me going because it helps me to love people unconditionally, which is important. But sometimes you have to work at it because you meet people that aren't so nice. So,
yes,
that's my focus. That's what they say. And if people can do that, they can connect if they can walk in unconditional love with no fear when you're in the woods. And you'll attract them. You can attract them. I mean it.
Awesome.
So I wish the very best for our audience, and if they're interested in this. But what I'm going to say is, as they say in Star Wars, may the Sasquatch be with you.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Kewaunee, I want to say on behalf of our audience, thank you so much for taking the time to come on Spaced Out Radio tonight. It was an experience and a real pleasure to have you back on here for the first time in a couple of years. And it's always fun to have an interesting conversation like tonight, and I think we learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and God bless everyone. We're at a very difficult time in the world, and each person can do their own job in helping, and it makes a difference, even though they may not think so.
Rock and roll, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Kewaunee Lapseritis, everybody. SasquatchPeople.com is the website. And I want to remind all of you that we got another 30 minutes to go on Spaced Out Radio. We got the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day coming on up. So stay tuned. We're going to have some fun as we start to take this thing home tonight.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from vans to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We got a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on the Captain's SOR Newswire. Here we go, Captain Shirk. This is for you. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and the sometimes downtrodden. I feel for this guy. I really do. A die-hard Disneyland fan who has visited California's Disneyland theme park every day for more than 8 years had his streak ended just shy of 3,000 days with the park being closed due to coronavirus. Disney announced the temporary closing amid the coronavirus pandemic back on March 13th, causing Jeff Wright's 2,995th consecutive day at the theme park was the last of his streak. The streak being ended, it's over, Wright said. He's 47 years old, by the way. The park is closing, but the calendar is not. Wright still says he plans to visit the park when it reopens, but his streak is over. On the negative side, I didn't get to choose the end, Wright said. But on the positive side, I didn't have to choose the end. Wright said he is planning to seek a Guinness World Record for his streak of Disneyland visits. He says all other frequent visitors that he's heard of ended their consecutive streaks after only a year or two. I'm still looking forward to coming back and having more fun, but it won't be that consecutive count anymore. Poor guy. So close. All right. Hey, remember last week when we told you that story about the cow that couldn't be caught? Well, police in Florida say the loose cow that has eluded capture since January was finally captured by officers who lured the bovine into an enclosed area. The Pembroke Pines Police Department said the cow was spotted in an area near Interstate 75, causing officers to respond and guide the animal towards an enclosed field in Davie. The property owner agreed to allow the cow to stay until it could be safely moved. We wish the cow well on its future endeavors, the department said. The police department said last week that the cow had been wandering the area since January, and repeated failed capture attempts revealed the animal is faster than it looks and was a fence jumper, too. Oh, that fence jumper. Despite the growing concerns of coronavirus, SpaceX and NASA are still eyeing a May 2020 mission that will mark the first launch of American astronauts aboard an American rocket and spacecraft since the final shuttle missions ended in July 2011. That would also end the U.S. reliance on Russia's Soyuz program to get astronauts to and from space. Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley are the two astronauts set to travel on the International Space Station aboard SpaceX's Crew Dragon after launching from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. This is a statement by NASA that was released yesterday. NASA says and SpaceX are going to continue to target no earlier than mid to late May for March. Crew Dragon has already made a round trip to the ISS, but the March 2019 mission was a test run and so only transported cargo. The historic mission planned for 2020 in May will include launch, docking, splashdown, and recovery operations. Good to see they're going ahead. A Minnesota restaurant is offering an unusual promotion for customers amid the coronavirus pandemic. A free roll of toilet paper with every takeout order of over $25. The Cambridge Bar and Grill in Cambridge announced all orders totaling over $25 now come with a free roll of toilet paper, a product some consumers are having difficulty finding due to shortages because people are stupid and instead of, getting hand cleaner, they bought toilet paper. Anyways, when the customers get their order, you genuinely get a laugh, and that's the best thing right now, said restaurant owner Sean Okerlund, no relation to Mean Gene. So what we think, Okerlund said he wants to bring a smile to customers' faces as a break from the anxieties from the outbreak. I want to do something nice. I'm not making fun of it. I just hope it puts a smile on people's faces. Probably going to put a smile on their butts, too. No offense. Across the country, Americans are literally shining a light amid the darkness of coronavirus. Nearly 3 months after Christmas, people are practicing social distancing at home or putting their lights back up to help lift everyone's spirits as the country fights through the crisis. What if we all put our Christmas lights back up? Lane Grindle, a play-by-play broadcaster for the Milwaukee Brewers, tweeted out on Sunday. Then we could get in the car, drive around, and look at them. That seems like a fair social distancing activity. Since then, many have rehung their lights and shared their handiwork on social media. Yeah, good for them. Good for them. I don't know if I agree with it, but, because it isn't Christmas. And I'm usually the guy who screams at houses when they have their Christmas lights on in like March, April, May. I hate that. Absolutely hate that. But this might be something that we need. It may be. Put your Christmas lights up. The Olympic flame is set to arrive in Japan from Greece, even as the opening of the Tokyo Games in 4 months is in no doubt, with more voices calling for the event to be postponed or canceled because of the pandemic. The flame will touch down Friday aboard a white aircraft planned or painted with the inscription Tokyo 2020 Olympic Torch Relay along its side, and Hope Lights Our Way stenciled near the tail section. Everything about the arrival ceremony at the Matsushima Air Base in northern Japan will be subdued. The flame is said to be greeted by a few dignitaries, saluted by a flyover from an aerial acrobatic team, if the weather permits, and then used to ignite the cauldron. The burning vessel will be displayed in 3 northern prefectures before the official relay begins on March 26th from Fukushima Prefecture, which was devastated 9 years ago by an earthquake, tsunami, and the meltdown of 3 nuclear reactors. Thousands of people from the region are still temporarily in housing, and life has not returned to normal for many in that area. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe hopes to use the Olympics to crown his run as Japan's longest-serving premier, and many suggest he may not be around if the games are put off and the economy slumps. Taro Aso, the Japanese finance minister and former prime minister, characterized the Tokyo Games as the cursed Olympics. When speaking on Wednesday in a parliamentary committee, Aso was born in 1940, the year Tokyo was to hold its first Olympics, which were called off because of World War II. This isn't a phrase that the press could like to hear, but it's true, said Aso, who was a member of Japan's shooting team at the 1976 Montreal Games. Aso pointed out that even as the situation in Japan and Asia improves, it's worse globally. We certainly hope to have a situation where everyone can at least come to Japan feeling safe and happy. But the question is, how do we do that? It is something that Japan alone cannot achieve, and I don't have the answer to this. Getting the flame to Japan represents a small victory for the International Olympic Committee and local organizers who maintain the Olympics will open as scheduled on July 24th and be followed by the Paralympics on August 25th. You know what? I'm one of those people who's a big fan of the Olympics. I am really a big fan of the Olympics, and I really hope they get this going. You know, we need this. We need the Olympic Games. I know it's a bunch of billionaires and countries spending money that they don't have when they could feed the homeless and everything like that. But you know what? Being near Vancouver in 2010, it was electric and great for the city, great for the province. I know there's going to be detractors on that, all right, because they did a lot of shady things. It happens every Olympics. But you know what? Watching those athletes win a medal and hearing your nation have the national anthem sung or played during a gold medal or after winning a gold medal, there is nothing better. Nothing better. It's heartwarming when you see these athletes who have trained so hard for this one moment, and they're not getting paid very much. They're not, outside of the basketball team. These are amateur athletes. And to watch them go out there and do their best, it's phenomenal. We need the Olympics this year. We really do. A hard hat that fell into the Mississippi River in 2015 is being mailed back to its owner after being found 4,300 miles away on a beach in Ireland. Liam McNamara, a member of the Burn Shores Beachcombing and More Facebook group, said he found the hat on a beach in Fenor, County Clare, and sought help from social media in tracking down the original owner of the headwear. The hat's custom paint job in the purple and gold colors of Louisiana State University and an intact sticker bearing the name of the International Union of Operating Engineers Local 25 helped McNamara get into contact with Matthew Bonnett. Bonnett said he had been working in 2015 in Belchazy, Louisiana, near New Orleans, when his hat fell into the river. McNamara said he is mailing the hat back home to Bonnett in Louisiana, where it belongs. That's awesome. That is just awesome. This is really cool, too. The California Science Center took advantage of being closed to the public due to coronavirus concerns, but what did they do? They went and took their rats out for a tour of the facility. Great. Now they're going to know where they're going to go when they escape. The Science Center, located in the Exposition Park area of Los Angeles, posted photos to Facebook showing rats in exercise balls being held by employees while taking a tour of the kelp forest exhibit in the museum. Since our doors are temporarily closed to the public, we let our rats explore the California Science Center under staff supervision, of course. The post said they had a wonderful time checking out the kelp forest. The move comes after Chicago's Shed Aquarium shared video of penguins touring the building and visiting other exhibits during the unexpected temporary closing. Museums and other public places across the country are currently closed due to the public closed to the public in a bid to slow the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. And finally, oh yes, finally, let's get to it. We haven't had a good Florida man story in a while. And I know all of you anxiously await Florida man. Well, not to be outdone by the virus, it has some, real competition here. Because Florida man has now been jailed twice in 2 days for impersonating a cop. How? Oh, let's get to this. Florida man is back in jail for impersonating a law enforcement officer just days after he was arrested for the exact same charge. Sheriff's officers said Leroy Stoudemire 60 years old, was arrested March 11th after investigators got a tip from a toll bridge attendant who showed them a video of a man flashing a law enforcement badge twice on that date to avoid paying a $2 toll, the Flagler County Sheriff's Office stated on their Facebook post. On-duty officers are allowed to cross free of charge, officials said. A toll booth attendant told investigators that Stottlemyre flashed his silver badge at him, and he, in return, showed the man an article about his arrest for impersonating an officer. He said Stottlemyre then put away the badge and paid the toll. Sheriff Rick Stately said Stottlemyre was arrested March 9th on charges of impersonating an officer and shoplifting. On March 11th, he was charged with felony violation of pretrial release and impersonating an officer. He was being held without bond. This guy clearly has not learned his lesson and has no respect for the law, Sheriff Rick Staley said. 2 days after his release, and he's already up to his old tricks. We know already that he thinks he can get out of shoplifting and paying tolls with his fake badge. Jail records show Stottlemyre still does not have a lawyer. What is this guy thinking? It's $2. $2. $2. 2 bills. You know? I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, at what point do you say, I've just been arrested for this? Well, first off, why would you impersonate a police officer in the first place? That's just bad karma being wished upon yourself. And second, thank you, Fapster. And second, when you sit there and then you do it 2 days later after being arrested, this guy needs to be tested for his sanity, let alone going to jail. Thank you, Marty, for the clown. Thank you, Jeff, for the arrow to point it out. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. You know, I gotta say something about the paranormal crowd, or the people that follow me. When I start off something that says, have fun here, you wouldn't believe some of the answers I got. No, I think everybody skipped over the have fun here part. Many of them did. If there was any mystery in the world you would like to know the answer to, what would that be and why? So let's start off with Joey Bandanas here. He's asking, is R. Keith Andrews getting rich from his monopoly on Verbo properties on other worlds? I have no idea. Eric with a K, we're his 4th favorite show. How does Bigfoot vanish? Sueno, I'd like to know the mystery behind how the UFO community can be handed ample evidence to justify demanding Congress investigation hearings, yet they fail to act by not writing, tweeting Congress. Why? Because I want to end the cover-up and its associated corruption. Why don't others? Rahonda, she hasn't been around on Twitter lately. Rahonda says, I want to know about Kennedy's assassination as well as Marilyn Monroe's death. Okay. All right, let's get to Facebook here. Little Kevin McDougal, they call him Kevy back in the day. Little Kevy says, who takes grade school Sasquatch children class pictures? And what type of camera do they use? Are they blurry? I want to know. Tim, how were the pyramids built? And to what purpose? Kevy responds, just like an Egyptian. Or just walk like an Egyptian. That's awesome. John, how did they move those monuments on Easter Island? That is a good one. That is a good one. Eugene, I want to know more about the Bermuda Triangle. Me too. Serena, secret space programs. I want to know the real truth. Don't care how mundane or fantastic or wherever in between. Just tell us already. Gail, hair. Random, ridiculous patches of hair. Why do we have eyebrows, nose hairs, tufts of hair growing out of our ears, and all that facial hair? Who decided everyone needs armpit hair or that monkeyish thatch growing on your shoulders and down your back? There's lots of other hair, but the final mystery growth is the hair on your big toe. Why? I want to know. Oh, Captain, that's a good one. Penman, I have several questions. Why are the different species of aliens studying us and our planet? Do Sasquatches really disappear? Who is drinking my coffee when I am not looking? Every time I look, my cup is almost empty. When will the toilet paper supplies be restocked in the local stores? Jeffrey, women, they're certainly a mystery to me. LOL. I've been married for almost 18 years and I still can't figure my wife out. Gary, who built and why did they build, and how did all of the megalithic structures resemble each other all over the world? Tina, has to be the missing 411 puzzle, just too many theories right now. Little Ronnie Moniak, he wants to know who killed JFK. VE, how the human race started and the real cause of us all. Jaretta, who let the dogs out? Who? Cause? I have nothing better to worry about. Sir Can, how is the Great Pyramid built? It's the kind of problem which could go very deep if the answer is found. Gil, where did we actually come from? Adam and Eve, apes, or aliens? Kelly, why the impossible meat people don't just call them Gerber baby food fritters? I mean, that's what they really are, right? Absolutely, bud. Renee, only one. Where do we come from? Nicole, I got to know what's in that money pit on Oak Island. Shauna, what's happening to all the missing 411 folk and the Highway of Tears? Jeanette, where is the GD toilet paper? Sylvia, aliens and Bigfoot. Gabe, I want to know why aliens abduct people. Nikki, every underwater mystery, including the exposure of every underwater base and every ancient ancient city. And Mike, I cannot mention yours on the air, but it is mighty funny and just cracked me up, and I wish I could. I'll tell the YouTube crowd right after this. I want to say a big thank you to everybody participating in today's Thought of the Day. We'll do it all again on Facebook and Twitter tomorrow as well. I want to say a big thank you to Captain Shirk for lending us her reading ears for the SOR Newswire. The reading eyes, I should say, instead of ears. Where did that come from? And to Kewaunee Lapseritis for wooing it up tonight. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Special thanks to everybody in the chat rooms on LGAB, Revolution Radio, YouTube, Spreaker, Facebook, the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website, and all the snarkers and snarkettes hanging out on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for letting us woo it up with you tonight, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a great night, everybody. We get to do it all again tomorrow. I'll be here. Let's finish off the week strong. Good night.